wanted to take a minute to go through the process of QC entry for an in-process log, like a brew log or a fermentation log. I'm going to focus my attention on a fermentation log, and now what we're talking about are the daily tank checks that you're going to perform on a particular fermentation tank. One of the first things we'll do is just identify which fermentation or which batch are we working off of. So I've now got fermentation 488 that's going in there. It's in a particular tank. Within the processing of VicinityBrew, you can have different stages of fermentation that you can define, and each of these can have different tests or different specifications associated with each test. So when I set up my primary fermentation and define primary fermentation, it identified during this time period, I want to record these tests and results for those tests, and I can even have various specifications, hot, target, high, low, associated with each of these tests. If there's a test that I want to perform today that I normally don't perform, I can go grab it from the left and add it to the list here. So this list is basically a guideline telling you what tests you should perform during this phase. If I change to a different operation, the test could change, but the specifications most likely would change as well. There are other columns listed here that I have hidden. Just know that there's other data that you can see and you can track. You can also hide other columns. You can also move columns around to make them fit where you want them to be, as well as making them smaller and larger. So those are our QC test results. You can record as many of those as you want to. So I can have a quality sample recorded today, and then tomorrow I go to the same tank, pull another sample, perform my observations, and it would have a new sample number of 71, and it would have tomorrow's date. I can also track some additional information if there are quality sample documents associated with this. Maybe I take an image performing the cell count, and I want to take the image of through the scope. I could take that and add that as a Word file, an Excel file, a PDF, or an image itself. I can grab any value, any file, and attach it directly to this quality sample. I can also record statuses. Statuses are user-defined fields. So if you have an event that happens during fermentation, you could record it. You could identify there was a power outage and the temperature dropped or something like that. You can pick up a user-defined status, mark the observations, any corrective action you took, and mark whether you feel it was resolved or not. This status is now marked against this lot specifically, or against this fermentation, specifically at this operation on this date. So now I've got a central point of recording of information. Also, we can record corrective action that needs to be performed. That could be the form of adding an ingredient, like during dry hopping. You may, as part of the normal fermentation process, add hops on a certain date. But then later, as you start testing and you identify you need to add more hops, you could add an ingredient. You can also simply add an instruction as well. I can add an ingredient, and from here in quality sample entry, I can go in and tell them I want you to add a certain amount of more hops, provide notes associated with it, whatever you need to record here under notes would be recorded. This will actually show up on the fermentation log in an area of batch corrective action. So you'll always have a running total of any corrective actions you perform for this particular log, but also for any other log for the same style or across styles. Why this becomes helpful is if you continue to be entering additional hops on a particular date in a style of beer, you might want to consider looking at the actual fermentation process and get ahead of that process and go ahead and put it in the master formula that you're going to need to add that. So this is the process of recording a daily tank check. It's all there available for you, easy to enter. You can enter your QC tests as well and add tests as well, batch corrective action, quality sample, and statuses.